So, Chanel No. 5 is a classic. Everyone knows it. It's the perfume. I believe it's the best-selling perfume of all time, which makes sense because, you know, Chanel is always coming up with new ways to make it popular ever since it came out in 1921, so it's a very old perfume. Older than 100 years old, which is something that most perfumes can't boast about. The thing about Chanel No. 5, of which I only have a small sample here, it's expensive, very expensive. It ranges from $90 to I think $140 for the full bottle, I think 3 ounces. A lot of people can't afford it. Not a lot of people want to spend $140 on juice, nice smelling juice. However, there are quite a few alternatives, affordable alternatives for Chanel No. 5. And I've discovered some myself, some that I didn't expect. So I'll go through some of them right here. The first one I have to mention, because it's the most similar, I would say, is Les Mans by Coty. This is also a very old perfume. If you can't tell by the design of this bottle, it came out in the 1920s. Specifically 1927, and it was Coty's response to the release of Chanel No. 5, because No. 5 was such a huge hit that Coty was like, alright, we gotta do something, we gotta compete. This is what we have, L'aimant, which means magnet in French, so it's supposed to be the ultimate attractive perfume. This is almost identical to Chanel No. 5 because it is a floral aldehyde fragrance. Chanel No. 5 was one of the first to use aldehydes, which is a type of chemical created in a lab. It's kind of crisp, light, fresh, a little bit floral. L'aimant also has aldehydes. Most perfumes don't have them. It's also mixed with some light, kind of bright florals, and then it has almost identical base notes to No. 5, specifically musk, sandalwood, I think there's some cedar, maybe. The main thing is it's missing the civet note that No. 5 has, and that's kind of what sets No. 5 apart from a lot of the competition, kind of mixing these very feminine, light, refreshing aldehydes and florals, and then grounding it with the more animalistic civet and the musk and the amber and stuff like that. But overall, this is very, very, very similar, and it's $15 or around that range. So, I mean, $140 versus $15 for more or less the same scent. And this is a nice size. This is 1.7 ounces. I don't know if they make any other sizes. I don't believe so. It also is an eau de toilette, and I don't think there's an eau de parfum. So it's not going to last as long as like the eau de parfum Chanel No. 5. But, if you get what you pay for. I mean, it's a slightly weaker concentration, but it smells very similar to No. 5. So you can balance the pros and cons there. The second one, which I have to mention because it's very, very similar, is L'Air du Temps. This is a sample here, which is almost empty. And L'Air du Temps is similar because it has many of the same floral notes, and it also has very similar musk notes. And it also has aldehydes, very similar to L'aimant and Chanel No. 5. It's also mixed with floral notes like rose, carnation, neroli, stuff like that. The base notes are almost identical to No. 5. It has the oak moss, amber, sandalwood, musk, stuff like that. And it lacks the civet, so it doesn't have that little twang at the end like No. 5 has. But it does have a very smooth kind of, it's floral, but it's warm at the same time because of those base notes. And the aldehydes probably is what really makes it very similar to the No. 5 DNA. And it came out in 1948, so it's not like a direct production after No. 5 came out. But it does have that similar warmth, it has a similar aura. It's a bit more expensive. I've seen it listed between $70 and $80. That's usually the range. Sometimes $50 or $60 for the smaller bottles. But still not as expensive as the real number 5. So still a good alternative. Not too expensive. Pretty much average, actually. Let's see, the next one here. It's another classic. Most of the older perfumes had a similar trend, so it makes sense that they're pretty similar to each other. Joy by Jean Patou. This was a classic in its own right. It often competed against number 5. This perfume was very expensive during its day, not too expensive anymore. It was expensive because it used more than 10,000 flowers. Like, I think probably around 10,600 flowers, mashed up to create Joy, which came out in 1930 during the Great Depression, and it was super floral and yet not overly sweet. You know, sometimes floral perfumes are just too much, but Joy balanced itself really well. Because the base notes are mainly woodsy. I think there's cedar, there's probably sandalwood, and it's really just balanced out, so you get all these floral notes, rose and iris and carnation and, you know, all this crazy stuff, kind of balanced out with base notes, which are more sober, more mature, I suppose. And that creates something that is very similar to Chanel No. 5. Of course, it doesn't have... It's not, like, the notes aren't identical to number 5, so it lacks civet, it lacks the oak moss, it lacks aldehydes, so it doesn't have the same warmth as number 5. It's a little bit on the colder side, even though it does have those wood notes. So it kind of lacks that, but it really makes up for it in all the floral notes that it has, mainly rose, but it does have some jasmine, which warms it up, along with ylang ylang and tuberose, and musk. And that is really good for, you know, if you want something very similar to number 5, but also want something a little bit different, something with a bit of a different character. So there's that. The price range can change a lot. I've seen Joy listed as low as $30 to $80, so it kind of depends on where you get it, but it is cheaper than number 5 in most cases. So that's a pretty good alternative there. Another one, which is actually one of my probably top 10 perfumes, is Dolce Gabbana Sicily here. And this is very, very nice. It has that same kind of oily warmth that number 5 has. It also has a very similar aromatic profile, namely aldehydes, mixed with floral notes like orange blossom, hyacinth, some rose, hibiscus, jasmine, stuff like that. And then the base notes have sandalwood and musk, which are identical to Chanel No. 5. And again, the balance of the aldehydes with the musk and the sandalwood and some of the floral notes mixed in gives it a very warm yet floral, you know, kind of vibe. It switches back and forth between refreshing and musky. So you get this really nice rounded out fragrance. And I mean, even the color is very, very similar. It's hard to tell on the black, but very similar. And a very pleasant scent. This also isn't too expensive. I don't remember the exact range, but I think it's around $60, $50 or $60, maybe $70. Not, you know, it's still cheaper than number 5, so still a good option. And it has that very luxurious kind of feeling, so really good option, classic. And the last one here is Dolce Gabbana The One. So, think about this, there's a men's version and a woman's version. This is the woman's version. So, when you first put it on, it's not immediately reminiscent of Chanel No. 5 because it has these fruity notes like lychee and I think plum maybe. But after those top notes go away, it definitely becomes more similar to Chanel No. 5. And that's because it has notes like amber, musk, vetiver, vanilla, I think lily, maybe a bit of iris, you know, all kind of thrown in there. And those counteract the fruity notes in the beginning. So it becomes really warm type of fragrance and very pleasant. The musk is definitely present, but it's not too strong, and it's very similar to the civet note in number 5. And this also isn't too expensive. I've seen some bottles for around $30, and I've seen other bottles for around $60, so definitely on the cheaper side, and you're getting the same sort of quality as with Chanel number 5. So those are the main alternative choices that I have here for Chanel number 5. If you have any other recommendations for affordable alternatives, you can always leave those down in the comments below. If you like the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.